Oh, I got my coffee. It's cooling down this evening. This is this is June 2nd. And it's time for a chat. So stay tuned. Welcome to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. Today is June 2nd and the evening is cooling down now. I'm going to sit out here on the deck and we'll have our monthly chat. I want to thank you for coming along and joining me. I got my coffee and we're just going to talk. May was a busy month for me. I got a lot done. I got the garden in and battled the deer a couple of times, but for the most part I managed to keep the fence intact, repair the fence where the deer broke it down, and keep them out. So we'll see what goes on from there. So I just try to water the garden regularly, and things are growing. I planted a lot of flowers and bulbs for the bees. The blackberries are just now blooming. This is June 2nd and the blackberries are just now blooming. So I think I heard it said that it's the last to bloom. And then the bees will have enough pollen and nectar to build up their stores. I won't harvest any honey this year since the beehives are so new. I did the split. They seem to be doing okay. I'm going to go in and do another inspection on the hives on Tuesday. So that's it. Chickens! I have 7 hens left and 2 roosters. I managed to sell a number of my young hens to a couple out of Northern California. I listed them on Craigslist and they drove clear up here to the Cascade Mountains where I live and bought my chickens. There's another couple from Northern California that showed up and bought all the rabbits, the baby rabbits that I had. Both sets, I had 8 younger rabbits that were probably 6 months old, and then I had the baby rabbits that were probably 6 weeks old. Well, they bought all 16 of them. I made a nice sum of cash between the sale of the chickens and the sale of the rabbits, and I was able to buy the material for getting the rabbitry sheeted. I got the roof together. This roof was free. Gal gave it to me. It's one of those estate cleanup things. She gave me this roof. It covered an 8-foot by 16-foot building. My rabbitry, the roof is going to have a 1-foot overhang all the way around, so the roof will be 10 by 10 instead of 8 by 8. So I'll have 6 feet of roof left. I plan to use that on the pig pen and cover about 6 feet of the pig pen when I get that built. So that part is reserved for a future project. So the rabbitry's coming along slowly but surely. Last night I sold ducklings from another couple that drove all the way up from, well, what's with all these people from Northern California buying all of my livestock up here? three couples. So all my rabbits went to there's Northern California, all my chickens went to Northern California, and all the baby ducks that hatched, there were 7 of them that hatched out. They went to Northern California last night, so I got some more cash to be able to go buy maybe 3 more sheets of plywood. The one baby duckling just hatched within the last couple of hours. Isn't he cute? He's so darling. I love baby ducks. Unfortunately, it does not look like the rest of these eggs are pipping. I might end up having to raise this baby duck by myself, or just turning it loose on the geese and letting it imprint on one of the geese like the other young duckling did. By the way, that duckling sold also. I also sold an adult duck. So, and that was from somebody out of a border town just north of the California border. Apparently, I'm the only one in the area that has ducklings. And the ducks have slowed way down on laying eggs, so I'm only getting like an egg every other day or every 2 days now. And I only have 2 ducks. I have 3 drakes left, which is a little bit quieter here on the homestead now with just the 3 drakes instead of 4. They've kept those ducks busy. So I got a gal coming over from South Central Oregon. She's going to be coming over and buying 3 of my Buff Orpington chickens, and then that's it. The sale is closed. I've depleted my livestock down to where the level I wanted them. It's going to reduce my feed bill, so I'll be able to handle going through the winter on a lower feed bill this year. And as far as that goes, chickens, ducks, rabbits, geese, future in pigs, future in goats. We touched on the bees. What else? The pond. The pond, I'm allowing it to go ahead and dry up. I usually put a hose in the pond and run it for about 4 hours a week, which keeps the pond topped off. But I'm letting the pond dry up, and there's a reason for it. I got to do some maintenance on the pond, get some of that mud cleared out of the bottom of the pond, because a lot of the silt has run down off of the hillside and filled into the pond. So that's a project this summer I'll be digging out. In addition to, one of the main reasons I'm letting the pond dry out is I want to build a duck deck dock. I want to build a little dock, and kind of imagine, if you will, there'll be a dock platform on which people will sit. I'll have a couple Adirondack chairs out there, and we can sit there and enjoy the ambience of the pond and the ducks and stuff like that. But this deck will have a purpose, because about this much underneath the deck will be the housing for the ducks and geese. And it'll be completely enclosed, with part of it curving down and into the pond, so they'll be able to access plenty of water while they're still closed up inside the enclosure. And this protects them from predators at night. This is for the sole purpose of protecting them from the nocturnal predators. And the nesting boxes will also be under there, and I'll have access ports from the deck to be able to access the area and do some maintenance. Their feed access will be down there, and of course I won't worry about water because they have the pond for plenty of water. So I'll be able to then disassemble the duck goose enclosure and do something else with that, put it away, or just sell it on Craigslist. I don't know. It's a temporary situation. Same way with that rabbitry that's up in the goose pen right now. It's all temporary until I get that rabbitry built. So, did a lot of auto repair the last couple of months. I fixed my car. There's one thing I discovered that's wrong with the car, and it's the alternator. I have to go get a new alternator and put it in the car, so it's in the process of going bad. And the deer just jumped the fence. They're not in the garden area though, they're in another area. So, the Jeep transfer case. Never did that before. Drive lines, replacing U-joints, I've done that before. Ha! have I got a story for you. I had a 1976 Chevy pickup towing a 1976 Prowler travel trailer. Well, here's a picture of it right here. We're in December, and we're coming out of Colorado and up over the mountains in Utah, snowing like the dickens. Couldn't stop. It didn't stop until we got to a warmer temperature. I think we stopped finally in Mesquite, and parked in a parking lot there in front of a big old casino and spent the night there. My wife and my 2 kids. Got up the next morning, headed through Las Vegas. Traffic, oh my goodness. Towing a travel trailer going through Las Vegas, rush hour traffic on the freeway was tense enough. How about blowing a U-joint right in the middle of it? Holy moly. Luckily, we had enough momentum to be able to coast. As soon as it went, I knew exactly what was going on, because obviously there's no forward power. So I looked immediately for a white spot on the road. I found one just before an interchange, so I pulled off in a really wide gravel area. Pulled off there, parked it. The wife and daughter went back to the travel trailer. Son and I took off hiking. And directly right across the freeway from us was a Napa Auto Parts store. So I picked up a new U-joint there for about $9, went back over. And Nevada has these service trucks that roam. Back then they did. This was been about 17 years ago is when it happened. Oh, it was 2000. The year 2000 it was when it happened. So the guy in the service truck offered services for free. He had a great big floor jack, big old vise, and so we were able to swap out that U-joint right there on the side of the freeway, and we got back on the road. I think we were broke down all of maybe an hour and a half, and we were back on the road again, heading to Daggett, California. Yep, we ended up in Daggett, California, living there for about 5 months. My wife's sister lives there, so we ended up parking in their driveway, camping out for a while, and then heading back to Oregon. So that was that adventure. U-joints. So that was no problem fixing a U-joint on it, because I've done a couple of them before. So as far as the chat goes, I think that concludes it. Not much else going on. Projects I'm gonna be going through is installing this big fancy door I got from a couple off my dining room onto my deck. I want to thank you guys for coming. Thank you for sharing this chat with me. Stay tuned. There's more videos to come, of course, and I look forward to a semi-busy June. Depends on how hot it is. If it's too hot, I don't do much. I just sit in the air conditioning and flake off for the day, because it's just nonsense to be outside in the heat. So we'll see you guys again. Bye bye.